Picture this. You're cruising down the highway, wind in your hair, your automatic car gliding effortlessly. But beneath the smooth ride, there are secrets your car's hiding. Secrets that could turn your drive into a disaster. So buckle up, because we're about to dive into sneaky transmission tricks and distractions that can lead to trouble. Let's uncover the things you should never do behind the wheel. Trust me, your car and your sanity will thank you. Let's dive in. To start with, let's talk about something really important. Driving safely. Specifically, let's dive into why driving downhill in neutral is a big no-no. Picture this. You're cruising down a scenic hill on a perfect sunny day, wind in your hair, feeling completely free. But just as you're soaking it all in, you might be tempted to shift into neutral. Resist that urge. Don't do it. Here's the thing. When you're driving downhill, you need to be in control of your speed. And when you're in neutral, you're giving up that control. Your car can start to roll faster and faster, and before you know it, you could be in trouble. Think about it like this. When you're driving downhill, you're already dealing with gravity. Your car is being pulled downward, and that can be scary. But when you're in neutral, you're not even using your gears to slow down. It's like trying to stop a runaway train. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what's the big deal? I've driven downhill in neutral before, and nothing bad happened. Well, let me tell you, just because nothing bad happened doesn't mean it won't happen next time. Driving downhill in neutral is like playing a game of Russian roulette. You might get away with it once or twice, but eventually, your luck will run out. And when it does, you could be facing some serious consequences. So, what can you do instead? Well, it's simple. Use your brakes and gears to control your speed. If you're driving downhill, try shifting into a lower gear to slow down. And if you need to, use your brakes to come to a stop. Before we dive in totally, make sure to smash that like button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future episodes packed with expert tips and tricks to keep your car running smoothly. Here's another thing you should never do to your automatic car. You know how sometimes you're in a rush to get somewhere and you just want to jump in your car and hit the road? I get it, but here's the thing. Your car needs a little time to warm up before you start driving. Think of it like this. When you wake up in the morning, you need a few minutes to stretch, yawn, and get your blood flowing, right? It's kind of like that with your car's engine. When it's cold, the engine oil is thick and gooey, and it needs some time to thin out and start flowing properly. If you start driving without warming up your engine, you're putting extra stress on your car's components. It's like trying to run a marathon without stretching first. You might not feel the effects right away, but over time, it can cause serious damage to your engine. So, what's the best way to warm up your engine? It's simple. Just let your car idle for a minute or two before you start driving. You can also drive slowly for a few blocks to get the engine warmed up. Easy peasy. Let's talk about a mistake that's easier to make than you think. Shifting into park while driving. Yeah, it sounds unreal, but trust me, it happens more often than you'd imagine. Think of your transmission as a special set of gears that help your car move smoothly. When you're driving, your transmission is hard at work, shifting gears to keep you cruising along. But when you shift into park, you're essentially telling your transmission to lock it up and stop moving. The problem is that when you're driving, your car is still moving, and shifting into park can cause some serious damage to your transmission. It's like trying to slam on the brakes while you're still going 60 miles per hour. So, why do people make this mistake? Sometimes it's just a simple error, like accidentally shifting into park instead of driving. Other times, it might be because someone is trying to stop their car quickly, but they're not using the brakes properly. Whatever the reason, shifting into park while driving is something you should never do to your automatic car. It can cause serious damage to your transmission and even lead to an accident. This might seem minor, but it can cause some major problems. Do you know how sometimes you might put off filling up your gas tank until it's almost empty? Maybe you're busy, or maybe you just don't feel like stopping at the pump. But here's the thing, running on fumes can be bad news for your car. First of all, let's talk about the fuel pump. This little guy is responsible for sucking up gas from the tank and sending it to the engine. But when your tank is low, the fuel pump has to work harder to get the job done. It's like trying to suck up a milkshake through a straw. It's just not easy. And that's not all. When your tank is low, you're also more likely to pick up debris and sediment that's accumulated at the bottom of the tank. This stuff can clog up your fuel filter and even damage your engine. It's like pouring dirty water into a clean glass. It's just not a good idea. Now, you might be thinking, I've been running on low fuel for years and nothing's happened. And that's great, but just because you've gotten away with it so far doesn't mean you're in the clear. Keep your fuel tank at least a quarter full to avoid damaging the fuel pump and other components. So, it's not just about avoiding running out of gas, it's about taking care of your car's engine and fuel system. Taking care of your car is all about the little things. By keeping your fuel tank filled up, you're helping to extend the life of your car's engine and fuel system. And that's something to feel good about, and it's better to be safe than sorry. Here's another obvious but important thing you should never do to your car. Imagine pouring water into your laptop, gadgets, or smartphone. Not good, right? It's kind of like that with your transmission. Water can seep into the gears and bearings, causing them to rust or corrode. And once that happens, you're looking at some serious repairs. Sometimes you might drive through a puddle or get caught in a heavy downpour. It's no big deal, right? Well, it can be a pretty big deal for your transmission. Think of your transmission like a delicate electronic device. It's got intricate gears, sensors, and wires that all work together to help your car move smoothly. But when water gets into the mix, it can cause some serious problems. But that's not all. Water can also cause your transmission to malfunction or even fail. Imagine being stuck on the side of the road, unable to move because your transmission is fried. Not fun. So, what can you do to protect your transmission from water? Well, first of all, try to avoid driving through deep puddles or flooded areas. It might be tempting to try to power through, but trust me, it's not worth the risk. If you do get caught in a flood or drive through a puddle, make sure to get your car checked out as soon as possible. A mechanic can take a look at your transmission and make sure everything is okay. It's also a good idea to regularly check your transmission for any signs of water damage. Look for things like rust, corrosion, or water spots. If you notice anything suspicious, get it checked out right away. Remember, taking care of your transmission is all about being proactive. By keeping it dry and well-maintained, you can help extend its lifespan and avoid costly repairs. So, next time you're driving through a rainy day or navigating a flooded road, just remember, your transmission is counting on you to keep it dry. Let's talk about something that might seem small but can make a big difference: using your parking brake. Do you know how sometimes you might park your car on a slight incline or a steep hill? Maybe you're in a hurry, or maybe you just forget to use your parking brake. But here's the thing, not using your parking brake can put your car and others around you at risk. Imagine you're parked on a hill and you don't use your parking brake. What happens if the brakes fail, or if someone accidentally bumps into your car? It could start rolling, and that's when things get scary. There have been cases where cars have rolled away and caused accidents, injured people, or even damaged property. It's not something you want to happen to you, trust me. So, why is using your parking brake so important? Well, it's simple. It adds an extra layer of safety to your parking routine. When you engage the parking brake, you're ensuring that your car stays put, even if the brakes fail or someone accidentally bumps into it. And it's not just about safety. Using your parking brake can also help reduce wear and tear on your car's brakes. When you don't use the parking brake, your car's brakes can become overworked, which can lead to premature wear and tear. So, make it a habit to always use your parking brake, no matter where you're parked. It's a simple habit to get into, and it can make a big difference in terms of safety and reducing wear and tear on your car. Using your parking brake is like having an extra layer of protection for your car and for others around you. So, next time you park your car, take the extra second to engage the parking brake. Your car and others around you will thank you. That's it for today's episode of Car Clinic. What have you learned differently today? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments box. If you want to stay on the road to car expertise, be sure to hit that notification bell and join our community of car enthusiasts. We've got a whole garage full of tips, tricks, and expert advice just waiting for you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode of Car Clinic.